What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of No Game, No Life Episode 1. And this anime, I was definitely interested in it, and I knew for a reason I was going to like this. So that is why I was already preparing myself to review this for you guys. And I gotta say that this first episode, it definitely impressed me. This anime, I gotta say, it's very unique, and it's definitely different. And so we see that when the episode actually starts off, we see now that we kind of see the chat going on where we actually learn that all these players or people, they're all actually dead, and apparently only one person's still alive, and she's right now, or she's known as the strongest person in the world, I'm guessing, or the game that they're in. She's known as the strongest, and her name is actually Queen. And so we see her now fighting these these four warriors, and apparently these guys have making a name for themselves. And apparently, the four of them, they took down, I believe, like 1,200 players, besides Queen here. And Queen, she definitely lived up to her title, because we see now that, while they were fighting, she definitely had some impressive skills. Like her spells, they were definitely, flashy, and they were definitely big on explosions. So, and we see now that, after she had cast her first, high level spell, we see now that her magic points, or her MP, it restored rather quickly, and she was able to cast another gigantic spell. But at the same time, it didn't work. As one of these unknown players, they were able to actually avoid that, and they took her down. And so now we actually learn about the rumor of these guys, and they're known as blanks, because none of them have a name for their characters, and nobody knows who they are, and people even think that they were cheating, because we see now that, I'm guessing, like in this player graveyard, or whatever you want to call it, we have the Queen here talking with somebody else, and Queen actually thought that these guys were like playing legit, and they were the cheaters because they had used all these kind of like dirty means to take them down, because we saw that they were the ones that had challenged these four players. And with Queen here, charging or getting back on MP so quickly, that right there is technically called cheating. But we see now that these four players, they are known as blanks. We see that they're actually controlled by two people. One name is Sora, who's the older brother, and the other is Shiro, his little sister. And so we have Sora and Shiro, both of them are controlling a character each. And that right there, is very unique in itself, because you understand, how much that could drain a person, especially from the high level battle they were just in. It's kind of crazy that they were able to handle all that. And so now we see, we see Shiro. She's like exhausted right now, and she's passing out. But we have Sora, who's still playing actually. And in fact, Shiro here had left him to control all four players. And that right there, it was freaking hilarious. But the thing is, though, Sora here, he's so freaking good. He was actually able to stay alive while controlling all four of them. So this guy is a monster when it comes to playing, these MMOs. The guy is a pure beast. And so now we see out of nowhere, they actually get this email from somebody. And I'm guessing, like the main reason why Sora here had wanted to check it, because when she was first talking about the email, he didn't really care. But when he heard that it could be from a friend, that's what made him check it. And so the email first started off with if they ever felt like they were born in a wrong world, because we see that this world, it has definitely not been kind to them, because they were basically the outcasts, and nobody really talked to them. They were like ignored. And so now after they had clicked this link, they had got sent to a chess game. And apparently Shiro here, this girl is like really smart. She was able to beat 20 programs she was able to beat a program that I believe was designed to take down like 20 grandmasters of chess. And so she was playing, and she was doing a good job. But apparently, Sora here, he figured out that rather her battling against an AI, she was actually going against a real person. So it took both of them working together to finally beat the person down. And so after they won, and they got another email, the person who sent it, they actually had this power to send them to another world. And that's what he did, because we saw at first that all their monitors, they were like spazzing out and going crazy. And then we see like their room or whatever, it turns black. So now out of nowhere, they get transported to this world, and I gotta say that this world is freaking beautiful. The animation in this anime, I will say that it's rather unique, and I definitely like it a lot. So I will give it, major props for that. But we see that once they arrive in this world, they are now falling, and Sora here, this guy is freaking hilarious. Like he was freaking out, and even Shiro here, she was getting a little scared. But we actually learned that the person who brought them here, I believe her name was like Teat. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but apparently she's a god. And in this world, everything is decided by games. And so now we see that all these games that are played in this world, they actually have 10 pledges that actually must be upheld. And so I did write them all down because I did feel like there was no way I could remember all of these off the top of my head. So right now I'm going to go through them real quick for you guys. So the first one is all murder, war, and robbery is forbidden in this world. The second one is all conflict in this world will be resolved through games. The third one, in games, each player will bet something that they agree is an equal value. The fourth one, as long as it doesn't go against number 3, what they bet and the rules of the game will not be questioned. The fifth one, the challenge party has the right to decide the rules of the game. The sixth one, any bets made in accordance with the pledges must be upheld. The seventh one, seventh one, conflict between groups will be conducted by the designated representatives with absolute authority. The eighth one, being caught cheating during a game is ground for an instant loss. And this rule right here, it has the biggest exploit, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And the ninth rule, in the name of God, the previous rules may never be changed. And it was just hilarious, after she had went through 9 rules, we have Sora here who's like freaking out, and that day had me dying laughing. And we see now that they hit the ground, and it did make like this hole. But we see right before they had reached the ground, they had stopped, and they're like perfectly fine now. And the final rule is, let's all have fun and play together. So apparently, this god here, I'm imagining that she has high hopes for Sora and Shiro. But we see now that after the god had left them, we see this dragon flying up, flying up from the ground, and that right there was awesome. And so now we get like this little backstory here. And we actually see that there was this kid who name was also Teat. So I would imagine, that the Teat now, is his descendant. Because we actually see that she actually lives in this chest piece that's like far into the land. But, you can't miss it because it's so gigantic. But we see now that we actually learned that this one person, he became the king, I believe it was the king or the god of this world. He actually able to make all these rules, and he actually the one that had made these pledges, because we see that they were before it was like ruined by like war, murder, and robbery. So he wanted to change all that. So he basically got all these races to use their brains and their wisdom and their wealth to basically to build a better world, and he kind of did that. And so now we see afterwards they actually beat these robbers or thieves, and they took all the clothes that they own. And it was rather disgusting when they showed like the backside of these thieves, and you just saw like this string going inside the body like that. That right there was disturbing. But it's hilarious how they're all abiding by these rules, because they were like begging for them to have at least their pants back. But Shiro or Sora, I just say, would not give them back. And so that was hilarious. And so then we go to this beautiful city. I definitely know that it's like part of a kingdom. But we see now that there is this intense game going on. And we have this one girl, Kurumi. She has, this like calm head, and she's playing it cool. And we have this other girl named Stephanie. Like right now, she's being a major noob here, and she has no idea what she's doing. So I definitely felt bad for her. But we see now that, this right here is for a tournament to determine who will be, the next king. Because the previous king had wanted his, who had wanted his successor to be the best at gambling. And so apparently, Stephanie here, she actually supposed to, inherit, the kingdom. But because of the previous king wishes, she can't do that, so she has to win. And so now we see that this, extremely busty woman, she was like talking to Sora. And so eventually, it led them into being into a game because we see that, Shiro here, she's definitely exhausted because she's so young. I really don't blame her for being like that. But we see now that, that Sora, she had wanted to play her in a game, and we see that, she was gonna beg, her bag of gold because she had a lot of it. And Sora here was actually going to bet himself and his sister, and if she won, Sora was gonna let her do whatever she wanted to them. And so now we have to play him a game, and we see that the woman here, because I don't think that we ever learned her name. We see now that she had a pretty good hand, and Sora here, his hand definitely was not that good, but he got ready for a new one. And when he got a better hand, he actually won because I believe she had like a full house, but he had a royal flush, so he won all that gold. And so after they had left her, we actually learned that Sora here had cheated. And of course, that right there does not conflict with the rules now because they say if you get caught, that is when you lose. Only if you get caught though, and because he not get caught, that right there is how he won. But we see that after he tried to get a room for a single piece of gold, the innkeeper, he was actually lying and trying to cheat him out, more gold, saying that one piece right there will only get him like one room, then won't get him, one night stay, then 2 nights. But in fact, that one piece of gold right there is worth for like four nights. And so now we see Shiro here. She was like watching Kurumi and Stephanie battle out, and apparently Kurumi here was actually cheating, but at the same time, they didn't know how she was doing that. And so we see now somebody was like watching them, and she had most of her body, wrapped up in like this cloth, and only her eyes were like visible. And so now we see that before they had went to their room, Sora here had actually warned Stephanie that Kurumi was actually cheating. And we don't see what happened after that because they had went to their room, and of course, they had put to sleep. But it turns out that, like most people that would get sent to another world, they would actually, try to find a way to actually get back to the original world. But because Sora and Shiro, they were so miserable in their original world, they don't actually want to go back. So that right there is very interesting. And Sora here, I'm kind of giving this vibe now, or like the animation, it kind of make me get the vibe from him that he's kind of like, Shiro from Log Horizon, because this guy was known as the villain in glasses because people just got this like dark, creepy, evil vibe from him, even though he was a good guy. And I'm getting this like same vibe now from Sora. So I'm definitely digging this character. It's a very nice twist on a protagonist because you normally don't see them like that. So it's good that that this character is heading into this direction. But we see that, after 3 hours of them sleeping, Sora wakes up because somebody is at his door. And it was definitely cute the way that, Shiro here was like clinging on to him. But when he opens the door, we see Stephanie now, and she's there with just like this blanket wrapped around her body. So I do wonder, like maybe she lost everything. Because that's the only reason why I think, she would come there like that. Because we saw her, come there with clothes. And I'm pretty sure that she's not going to, she's like, well, I really don't want to say it, but I'll just let you guys, wonder when it comes to that. But overall, for a first episode, it definitely grabbed my attention. I do want to see more. Because I want to see, now that Sora and Shiro are going to stay in this world, and of course they're going to play the games, I do wonder how far they might go. Like maybe Sora himself, he'll want to become king. I think that could be, very interesting. But as always, please let me know what you guys thought about this, because I really want to get some feedback on this as well. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.